G'day guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Anbernic RG40XX-H. I picked mine up locally for only $25 Australian, but it was not working. We needed to replace the left joystick since the ribbon was ripped, and also do a fresh install of the stock OS on the SD card. These currently go for around $90 Australian delivered on AliExpress, or around $130 Australian on eBay. Compared to the R36S, the RG40 does have a larger screen at 4-inch versus the R36S's 3.5-inch, but both are 640 by 480 IPS panels. The RG40 sports the H700 SoC, which is slightly faster than the RK3326 and the R36S. Both units have 1GB of RAM, but the RG40 uses the newer LPDDR4 versus the R36's LPDDR3. Finally, the RG40 does have built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which the R36S lacks, and we also have two configurable RGB rings around the joysticks on the RG40, and it does also have a built-in vibrator, which works with some RetroArch cores. Taking a look around the device, on the front you obviously have your D-pad, left joystick, which does feature a clicker, a menu button, A, B, X and Y buttons. On the right, a second joystick, which does feature a clicker, and start and select. On the top, we have L1, L2, power, volume up and down, USB-C charging and data, a reset button, a mini HDMI port, and our R1 and R2 buttons. On the bottom, we have our stereo speakers, two SD card slots, one for booting and ROMs, and the second one just for ROMs, and a standard 3.5mm headphone socket. There is not much on the back or sides. We'll take the included SD card out and pop it into our computer to see what's on it and how easy it is to add ROMs. We're over on our Windows 10 PC. I'm just going to pop the stock SD card into my cheap USB SD reader, and we'll pop it into the side of my computer. By default, only one 44GB partition showed up, D drive. So I'll open that up, and inside we can see all of our system folders. Looks like there's a folder for ebooks, music, PDFs, videos, but what we're currently interested in is the ROMs folder. And looking inside, it is all of our systems. If we open up FC, which is NES, we can see we do have all of our NES games. Thankfully, copying games over to this is as easy as dragging and dropping into the correct folders. Some OSs for the RG40 do have their ROMs partition formatted as ext4, which does not work on Windows out of the box. So it's nice to see the stock OS does use a file system that does play well with Windows. Opening up disk management, we can see there are quite a number of partitions on our SD card. So it looks like 44GB is the maximum size for our ROMs partition on our 64GB SD card, at least on the stock OS. As mentioned, I did get mine secondhand, so I decided to download the 64GB stock OS version 1.0.6 SD card image from the official Anbernic site, which does include games. Once downloaded, I just extracted it using 7-zip and wrote it to the SD card using Rufus. In this video, we'll be focusing on the out-of-the-box performance, as some people don't like to tinker and just want a device they can purchase and play. You can see the two RGB rings around the joysticks. They are configurable. Simply go across the settings, go down to LED settings. From here, you can enable or disable the RGB effects. Under modes, there are several to choose from. You've got always, which is just a solid color, breathing fast, which does fade in and out. You've got two more breathing fast options, which just vary the speed. Simulator Phantom, which doesn't seem to do much out of the box. Double joystick chasing light, which is my personal favorite. You can see it is a solid color, which we can change later, but as you change the direction, it does highlight that direction. Monochromatic rainbow and multicolor rainbow, which is the stock out of the box. If we select double joystick chasing lights and press back, we can then change the brightness or colors. The first color menu does change the color of the selected direction. So currently it is red. I personally believe it looks best as cyan. You can use L2 and R2 to quickly change the values. Here you can see it is a very subtle shade of cyan on top of the blue. The background color option obviously changes the default background color. As you can see, currently it is blue, but changing the values does change the color. Also in the settings menu is our network settings. From here, you can create a wireless hotspot, which is very cool for local multiplayer. You can also pair various Bluetooth devices. However, on stock OS, Bluetooth audio doesn't seem to work. You can pair Bluetooth controllers though, which is great if you decide to plug this into a TV and use it as a docked console. You can also connect to Wi-Fi, which is great for moonlight streaming, scraping box art, SSH, online ports like Mario War, trading Pokemon locally, and retro achievements. I think now we'll try plug it into our TV. Again, it is a mini HDMI, so you will need an adapter or a mini HDMI cable. Let's pop it in. And there it is there. There was a small delay, but it does work perfectly, and there is sound, which is good. Something worth noting is the screen on the RG40 did turn off when we connected it to our TV over HDMI. We'll try out a game and see what it looks like. So it does look the same as it would look on our handheld. It looks like it is just mirroring the screen. There doesn't seem to be any input lag when using the RG40's built-in gamepad, which is pretty good. It all is nice and smooth. Also, keep in mind, if we were to apply any shaders, they would come across on the TV as well, which is another great feature. And as mentioned earlier, you can connect a Bluetooth gamepad to the RG40, and when it's connected to the TV, it would act as a standalone console. We'll unplug it while it's on and see what happens. The screen on our RG40 is still turned off, but the lights are on. It looks like it doesn't like being hot swapped. Pressing the reset button did seem to fix it. I think now we'll try a few different games and see how well they run out of the box. This is Grand Theft Auto Vice City for the PSP. It seems to run mostly well, but there are some lag spikes in highly populated areas. Next up we have Crash Bandicoot 1 for the PlayStation 1. Next up is Need for Speed Underground for the Nintendo DS. Here we have Wave Race for the Nintendo 64. This is Soulcalibur on the Dreamcast. This is Virtua Racing for the Sega 32X. This is Quake 1 from Ports. I didn't bother showing any 8 or 16-bit systems since they all do work flawlessly. Overall, it's a very cool little device. It is very comfortable in the hands, and the built-in Wi-Fi is definitely a great feature, and something I wish we had on the R36S out of the box. Not being able to use Bluetooth headphones on the stock OS is a bit of a letdown, but thankfully other OSs do apparently support it. Also, I noticed a lot of the more popular games weren't included out of the box, which was a bit of a disappointment. Thankfully, it is super easy to copy your own over. I'm not a fan of the stock OS. The user interface does leave a lot to be desired, but I may have just been spoiled by using ArcOS so much on the R36S. I'll definitely be trying out the various custom OSs available for this RG40, and apparently Newly is one of the better ones. I must say, out of the box, for $90 Australian, I would have been pretty disappointed, especially compared to the R36S, but we'll see if the custom firmware makes it any better. I think that'll do it for today. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.